pro streamer. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this evening's session of Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We are under the mountain, and we have met as of last session the Lass of Lyrics, a former bard now turned vampire. She was, in my personal opinion, very accommodating with the PCs. She tried her best to help them in their quest to journey further into the depths of Undermountain. And I'm not sure if my acceptance or understanding of her methodology, I don't know if that translated with the rest of the group. I think it might have. I'm not sure. We'll check in soon. But before we check in, and before I go over anything else with this very short recap, if you would like to affect what happens to this group or the Lass of Lyrics, you may look straight down below and you can see that the narrative augments in the forms of donations are below. You can help, you can hurt, you can do anything in between. You are part of the story here on the channel. It is a collective narrative. And so, with the last week's episode and session, there was a sit down in a mafioso style with the vampire known as the Lass of Lyrics. She had Garnet, one of the PCs that had gone missing the session prior, enthralled, ensorcelled, charmed, otherwise held against her will at this table of feast that the Lass of Lyrics had set up. Long story short, and with the attempted seduction of a paladin, they were sent into a lower level. It seems the Lass of Lyrics, could not descend further than the point at which she had reached. So she sent the group ahead to take care of a twisted apprentice of Hallister Blackcloak, someone that had used their magics foolishly and turned themselves into a Nothic. Now, in addition to that, there were some were-rats and a terrible stench. But beyond all of that, there was one absent member of the group, the Aasimar barbarian Kyogen. Now, it was told to them by this vampire that should they go down, defeat these creatures, and obtain a stone key, the delivery of said stone key would see the return of their Aasimar friend Kyogen. Well, we had a guest star last week in the form of Katie's Drow. There was maybe a little of subterfuge going on here, as a fake key was given to the Drow to deliver to the vampire above. The vampire, not sensing the magic emanating from the item, renegotiated the nature of the contract. We've had a lot of discussion about Waterdavian contract laws. I'm sure you'll be interested to know more about them soon. And Kyogen, the Aasimar barbarian who was a poker chip in this great game, was seated at the table and ensorcelled, enthralled, and charmed the same way that Garnet was. At the end of the last episode, the vampire known as the Lass of Lyrics crept forward, opened her mouth, and began to move her fangs toward Kyogen. And so I find it only fitting that before we go back to everyone else, we go forward to Jason and to Kyogen as the vampire known as the Lass of Lyrics. Teeth begin to descend towards the neck. And just as they are about ready to pierce the flesh, the scarred and raised iconography of the Aasimar, Goliath, massive being that is Kyogen. Kyogen, you are aware of all of this, but in your perspective, the Lass of Lyrics is a friend, trusted, and this is nothing to be concerned with. But as the teeth go down, and the mouth measures the neck, before bite or before teeth pierces flesh, the lips pull away, and instead she sort of drapes her arms over your shoulder. No, you would forget, and that is the worst punishment of all. And with that, you feel this veil of this charm magic lift off of you. And you see this drow that had delivered the implements before, one that you had met in passing, back turns rigid, and she leaves the room. And the vampire turns to you and says, "We have reached a bit of a conundrum. Your friends are below. They have something that cannot help them. It can only hurt them. And it is something that I desperately need. Would you help me parley with your friends?"
Immediately seeing the scene before him, having been aware of not being in control of his own capabilities, Kyogen does not take kindly to being taken control of. And as a free action, he screams out to his comrades, "To arms, my friends!" And as an action, I pop my necrotic shroud.
I would like everybody that's down below, even though I'm not going to go over to you quite yet, just from the distance, and we'll see it pop up here in the die roller, perception checks to see if you hear your good friend Kyogen.
Question: does the curse that was placed on me last session affect my shield?
It sure does, Mystery Voice.
Oh boy.
Thank God one of you.
We'll get back to that in a second. As you pop your necrotic shroud, and she simply stands there and begins to back away. It's your action again. For a free action, she just delicately raises her hands. "You no harm has come to your friends or you, and you know full well that should I wished harm upon them, it would have occurred."
She within 10 feet of me?
She's backing out of your range, yeah.
Okay, so I need, because of the necrotic shroud, she needs to make a charisma saving throw. DC 14.
18.
All right. So he points his maul towards her as this sort of undulating ebony shroud flows off of his body. You dare try to control Kyogen, Dark Priestess.
I am no priestess.
You used your magics.
Oh, and that equates theology. Well, in that case, sure, I'm a priestess. I wish you no harm, Kyogen. Her eyes, though they don't fully roll, they tick upwards. I don't wish you any harm. I don't wish your friends any harm. The being that I wish to harm lies far below this place. Bring up your... Yeah, you can insight. As you're inciting, bring up your paladin friend. He has the ability to tell whether or not I'm telling the truth. If it would grab the key for me and put it back on the proverbial bargaining table, I would gladly do so. She's tough to read.
Yeah, I'll specifically yell out for Gorbrin.
I will bring in everybody else now. As Garnet, you are the only person that heard this two arms shout, and then several beats later, you hear a call for Gorbrin. But you are the only one that hears this.
I think something went wrong, but Kyogen's up there.
So we should go get him.
We should maybe be prepared for a fight.
What happened? What did you hear? I didn't hear anything.
He was all like, "Comrades to arms!" Rah!
I run up the stairs. I'm
I
gone.
will
I'm
follow.
going.
And DNA's on her
I
way.
stomp after her.
So who's carrying the key?
On it.
It was Dierna, right?
I think it was Dierna.
Yeah, I think it was me.
I know that
Yeah,
Deanna,
it's right here in my inventory.
Deanna had it and created the copy. Garnet's the one that found it, however. So
Yes.
the two of you decide who has it or if it's Deanna, and then let me know if there's anyone that is not going upstairs.
Do you want it, or I'll take it?
I'll hold on to it.
Okay. I am also going upstairs.
As we run upstairs, I want to, because I was the first one going, but I want to reach behind me and pull Garnet up alongside me and cast invisibility before we hit the top.
Okay. Actually, as I leave, or like as we go up, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Dierna, maybe don't break the key."
You want me to just like leave it on the floor?
Oh.
I'll watch it.
Gorbrin is like,
Wait, the key?
Yeah, Hemelig does. No one else hears that, but Deanna Hall would hear the offer from her albino raven familiar. I can watch it.
Wait, what do you mean the key? We sent the key up. What do you mean? I'm still holding on to Garnet.
We
Invisibility on you.
we sent a key up. Yes, that's right.
You
you
just
made a copy.
why? Why would you do that?
You wanted us to trust the strange.
I wanted
First.
Kyogen back.
He seems fine. He seems all like, "Rawr, let's fight." That's his.
That's
I think
clearly a
if
bad
you
sign.
yelled about fighting, we should probably check on that first.
We will talk about this later. Right now, we're
Oh.
going to save Kyogen, which would have been fine otherwise, but now we are going. We'll talk about this later. And I shove Garnet in front of me.
Well, you can. Garnet makes the decision about whether or not she wants to be shoved,
Yeah.
but you can attempt to shove Garnet. In front
Am
of
I
you.
invisible at this point? Also.
I did cast it on you.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, if she pushes you, it's like you're pushing
Okay.
air, and
I'm gonna be
It's up to
like,
you.
"Seriously, Dierna, I don't know, hide it really well or something."
So Gorbrin's gonna stop when he hears this. He's gonna let you two run up the stairs, and he's gonna turn to Dierna. You're not coming up?
I was going up, but then people told me not to. So,
Yeah,
do you want me
I-
to listen to people, or do you want me
I-
to like act on my own? It seems when I don't listen to
Uh,
people, people get mad at me. So,
Dierna? Dierna.
Eh.
Kind of just gives an exasperated like smirk, just like, you can come up if you wish to. You can stay down here if you wish to.
I don't want Kyogen to be hurt, and I don't want to lose the key.
Then I ask you, even though we do not know each other, to hand the key to me.
Kiana just gives the key over.
I'll hold
No,
on to
don't
this.
let her mind control you or something.
I will try not to.
Give me some
Thank
of your
you.
hair.
Later.
That...
And I will give you some hair later.
Well,
right
thank
now
you
we need to-
before.
He's just gonna stare up at the stairway and hear like his friends like.
I'm just gonna take out a knife and cut a bit of hair off of him.
You
and
can
then
make.
shove him ahead.
He'll be surprised and kind of step back, but he'll allow it. Let her.
Oh, okay, I was
know.
gonna say you can roll a perception check, or we can do a peer.
Go.
It's like, and he'll just stuff the key into a pouch and head upstairs.
Okay. So you all ascend the staircase. When you get up there, you see the proverbial standoff. Garnet, you are invisible, correct? And then what about Karis? Karis, are you invisible as well? Did you both snap invisible? Or you just...
No, I just took care of her.
Okay,
It was
yeah,
more
so I was gonna say.
about getting her invisible.
Gotcha. Okay, so with Garnet invisible and the rest of you ascend the staircase, you are greeted with the very familiar sight of the Lass of Lyrics. However, the drow that was in your company, Ellie, is no longer here. And the people that were kind of seated around at the table, also enthralled and ensorcelled and charmed, as was Garnet and just moments ago Kyogen, they too are gone. The only beings visibly present in this room are you all, minus Garnet with the visible, and the Lass of Lyrics and Kyogen. Ah. It seems that you sent the wrong key, but I can certainly overlook that. If you provide me the key, I will in turn, as a man of good faith, provide you with a way to get after those you seek and make up some time on them.
That's fine with me. It's just we weren't going to give the key to someone who previously said that they did not want to be considered part of our party and was not a party to the actual negotiations.
Fantastic.
Understand. Okay.
Absolutely.
Also, technically, you just asked for a stone key and we gave you a stone key.
Does this voice come from the ether?
Yeah. I don't know why. Garnet doesn't know why she's invisible. She's just invisible now, so.
Okay.
Charles, it might be best to drop the spell.
When my friend says, hey, let's go to battle, I usually think there's going to be a battle, so, fine.
Kyogen, are you alright?
This dark woman. She used her magics on me to control me.
I notice that Kyogen is in his necrotic shroud, and I immediately tense up. And I kind of outstretch my hand cautiously and say, Kyogen, we're going to go now. Everything's going to be fine. I promise. Yeah?
He looks over at Charos and looks at the vampire and back to Charos. And slowly lowers down his necrotic shroud as it fades away from him, but keeps his maul ready.
Very well. See, misunderstandings have been taken care of. So the key?
You have it.
Darn it.
Yeah, I know that Deanna said it was going to give it to you, but Gorbrin, you handed it over?
What?
No, I have not handed it over to her. It's in a pouch of his. But he's going to.
No, this is how deals work. She said that we need to go down and kill a Nothic and bring back a stone key. And we did those things. You did not ask for a particular stone key.
Garnet,
I asked for the stone key that was down there.
And she's offering us a shortcut in exchange for this other key that we got.
A shortcut to where? I'm still not quite sure why or where we're down here, and I don't know if the shortcut's going to help us. So tell me if the shortcut is helpful, and then we can negotiate a new deal. But this first deal is done.
Garnet.
Paladin, can you tell if I am lying? Is your ability to suss out the truth still among your arsenal?
Out of character, it's not, but I can use the long rest thing to gain everything back. Can I do that?
If you wish, yeah.
Yes, so I will long rest myself. So give me 1 sec. So I will use that long rest thing to put me back up to full and to all my slots. And he's going to say, yes, it is.
Then you may ask me any questions that you wish. But it is to my understanding that you are down here seeking the group that came shortly before you, the ones wrapped oh so theatrically in black with hoods and sulking about here with purpose of stride. Is that who you seek?
Yes. Who else in this dank dungeon would we be looking for, honestly? Like,
Oh,
He's
you'd
gonna
be
cast-
surprised.
He's going to cast the Zone of Truth.
She
a lot of
stays
people
with-
wear clothes, robes and stuff, and are creepy and skulk about. Should be really specific.
She stays within inside the zone, and she does not. She allows its effects to take hold on her. She does not resist in any way, and you can feel that.
Thank you. Yes, these people are why we are down here, and that is our mission. Have you seen them?
So let me guess, Paladin, you've been sent by one of the nobles to come down here and chase these people, because they are bad, and they're going to do worse.
Yes. At least that's what we think.
She looks over at Dearna Hall. That's not what she thinks.
Ian, are you in the Zone of Truth? I'm just gonna leave this out to the party. If you want to be in the Zone of Truth, you can.
absolutely not.
Okay.
Not in there.
Right, because he's
Bye.
going to center it on the vampire. He's going to be on it himself.
Well, Gina doesn't want to get close to the vampire in GL.
Okay.
Kyogen's in the Zone of Truth because he doesn't care.
Okay. He'll look to Dearna and say, like, why are you down here?
You hired a guide.
Madam.
Also, this place is all wonky with magic, so it makes it harder for the Raven Queen to find me. And you don't want the Raven Queen finding you if you don't want her finding you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Wait, magic? It's harder for people to track you down here?
Yeah.
Very hard.
Didn't you hear what the priest, the cleric, was saying about? Were you there for that? That Lolth was having trouble seeing what was going on around here, and it was really upsetting her.
Oh, no, I think I was on the wall or like being, held against my will.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You were safe.
I mean, it was still against her will, even if you say she
Yeah.
was safe or not. It's
Potato,
Bye.
potato.
I mean, for somebody who was all about consenting adults like 5 minutes ago.
yeah, she didn't consent, so I'm just saying you're kind of really sketchy, and that's coming from me. So
Vampire, it's sort of our MO, but
that's racist.
well, I mean, as I read it in Volo's book of stereotypes.
Just because it's a stereotype doesn't mean you have to follow it. Anyway, the point is, where is this?
To read Volo's Guide to Self-Empowerment.
That's
I
a
didn't
good
like
one.
it.
Where
I found
where
it
does this
wordy.
shortcut take us?
Farther down. That's where you want to go, is farther down. Whether you're here to chase down this group of scoundrels, or if you are here for the mage himself, you want to go further down. As do I.
Madam, I think what my associate is desiring is a precise description of where
Well-
the shortcut leads to, or where it is.
It seems like we already have a way further down. So
Do you know
why
how
is
many
your further down way better?
Do you know how many people have come into this place, wishing to rush in and fight the Mad Mage and steal his treasure, and have spent a human's lifetime wandering on just one single floor of this vast labyrinth? You need to progress, or you will die here. I myself came down here nearly 100 years ago. I was made into what you see before you, against my will. I was made to forget the location of this place, and with scrying magic incapable of piercing the veil of Undermountain, I knew not of the location of my attacker until recently. But they have made sure to put certain safeguards in place so I cannot get to them. One of them is that key. It does not help you, other than to provide you and yours with a distraction. Because as soon as I get down to where I need to go, this whole mountain will be turned towards me.
Who was your attacker?
That is for me to know. I do not wish someone else to move against them until I have had my turn.
It's more you run into weirdos down here, and we want to make sure that if we run into them, to not trust them.
Yeah, and also not end up like you. No
Fair.
offense.
Very well. The person that you will need to look out for, if they are still dressed in the same way that they have for hundreds of years, much like on the surface world, a flower is clipped to the lapel of a jacket. If you see anyone with a yellow mushroom pierced against their lapel down here, that is my friend, and I will deal with them soon enough.
A yellow mushroom.
I know, it's tacky.
If we run into them, is there any way for us to send you word on their location?
Why don't you take some of her hair?
That's a good point. Give me your hair.
No.
Fingernail?
No.
Molar?
No.
Toenail?
Coda.
I don't think she
skin
wants
tag?
to give you anything
Well,
like that.
She does, however, reach over onto the table in around the area where she had been sitting at the head, and she pulls out what looks like almost like a tear-off notebook, which is odd because most of the stuff that you see here is either loose or bound with twine. But as she brings it forward, you see that it is in fact these kind of sheets that tear away, and she hands it to Dearna Hall. If you simply write where you are, where you believe you are, and whisper my name, this little paper will fly and find me, as long as I am still here under the mountain.
Does this work for anyone?
It certainly does. As long as you know their real name.
Tyrannus snatches it. And your real name?
Camille. Case in point, everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch, the vampire just gave their real name to the witch known as the Hawk.
Man, badly.
I cannot judge such a misgiving of information when you're looking for someone who wronged you. So, I think we can say that we will do our best to help you as long as you help us, and we will have a nice mutual relationship, and hopefully maybe someday we will all make it out under the Undermountain alive. How's that sound?
Oh, I could care less whether or not you make it. I will help you, though, progress in your quest, as you will help me progress in mine. We will then leave one another's company. We may or may not see one another again. If we do, I hold no ill will toward you. If you wish to aid me, great. We will owe one another nothing.
What does the key do?
It allows me to go further down.
How?
It breaks
It
a bit.
opens barriers. Yeah. Didn't you look at the magic on it?
It breaks a barrier that was sent up and placed for me.
By Hollister or?
Oh, no, not Hollister.
My
No.
mushroom guy, right? Look,
I'm
this
mushroom person.
This seems all right to me. This deal. So a way down for a second stone key. Are these the terms?
Whatever you need to tell yourself, Faye.
I have one question before I give you this key. And I want you to answer me directly. Because as I know, the zone of truth compels you to tell the truth. There are ways of skirting around it. And I ask that you be forthright with me. If I give you this key, and he pulls it out of his pouch, besides the one that turned you, will you hurt anyone in your path?
Define path. Are they standing in between me and my friend the mushroom wearer?
If they are innocent,
Define
still-
innocent.
you know what I mean.
Paladin, I will tell you this much. I am not going to seek out a fight. I am not going to try to murder indiscriminately the lovely and innocent citizenry of Undermountain. But if a being gets between me and where I need to go, they will no longer be breathing. Now tell me, am I lying?
And he looks at the key, looks to her, and hands it out to her.
She waits for you to place it in her hand. She doesn't snatch it. But as soon as it's done, she offers you a relatively formal and apparently non-sarcastic bow. It seems of something born from the court, perhaps a throwback to her former life. And as she extends her bow, she pulls her
Garnet
eyes...
instinctively bows back in a similar fashion.
She cocks her head. I am sorry I held you against your will. It was my only means of keeping you present.
I mean, you could have just explained.
I don't do that. It's something you lose after a couple decades.
I mean, aren't you a bard? Aren't they supposed to be really good with words and stuff?
I used to be. Now,
Maybe you should work on that.
perhaps you're right.
It was good to practice.
It is. I was used to telling, and now I've become accustomed to taking, and perhaps it is not the right way. But you all seem to be eager, so if you head back down the stairs upon which you came, you will notice, upon further inspection, that to your right there is a hidden door, as there are in every room of this God's forsaken place. When you open it up, you will see that there has been a temple where none should exist. A very strange temple. I would tell you more about it, but holy ground and all. I have just witnessed its wonder from afar. You go through it. You will find a portal, one of 3. Choose wisely.
Which one do we take to get to the ones we need to find?
I could not follow them in. I could not descend to the level. And who's to say? I merely know that they entered the area and never exited.
Well,
Did you see their faces?
No. You get a ping, Gorbrin.
that's a lie.
You're right, I was a bard, and we so much love stories. You're in the middle of one right now. I'd hate to spoil the ending.
Was one of them named Tally?
I don't know. Ping. Are we done
Because
here?
If you would allow, if my companions have no other statements or questions.
I have questions.
Okay.
Have you seen any Shatterkai and or hags in recent time?
Define recent. I believe we have a different...
Within the past 15 days.
Yes.
Please tell me everything you know about them.
I simply know that there is a coven of 3. They passed through here, carrying with them a sack. The sack was moving. It appeared that they went shopping. For something I know not. They descended, and should you choose correctly, in the temple, you may very well run into them. They are powerful. At least they smelled that way.
Was there anyone like me from the Feywild?
Why, dear, you seem to know something that I don't. Ping. What do
Madam.
you think?
Please.
I won't ruin the story, Sir Gorbrin.
just goes over to like the shattered, like the broken bits of goggles and just starts picking them up off the floor.
Corbin will look to Charis. And do you have anything you want to ask her? Kind of way?
As a fellow storyteller, I won't say that something being spoiled isn't a little bit of a disappointment, but it makes it a bit easier to tell. What will you do when you find the Mushroom Man? Will you just kill him? Or are you going to tell him your whole story and make him suffer? I'm very curious.
I think I will... What did you say? Practice. I will practice.
May we both find enough practice we need.
She bows again.
I do a sweeping bow back.
She begins to move towards the staircase that you guys have just come back up. And you notice that she's beginning to get insubstantial as she's walking. You can start to see through her in various states of natural light. And, you know, as soon as she kind of breaches the shadows, a bit of the dark vision begins to kind of creep through the thermals. And at the last minute, this now drifting visage looks back at Kyogen. I apologize, Asimov. And she looks at Garnet and nods again and disappears.
Well, shit.
We got a temple to explore, Diernahel says, and just shuffles on down the stairs.
Accompanied by the flapping of wings.
Yeah,
Kyogen, are you alright?
Let's just move on.
Are you sure? Usually you need some time to recover after. I don't know what you've seen. I just want to make sure you're fine.
I am not injured. But if others are, perhaps we should rest.
Do we want to rest? We can.
Let's go through the temple first.
Then once we go through that, I think that we all need some rest.
I can create a safe space for us where no one will bother. So whenever we need to sit down, I mean, it's not necessarily good to just do it out in the open, but the point still stands. If we find a little alcove, I can take care of us for the night. It'll be fine. Just let me know. And I give like a look to Yuki and like, we're gonna talk later. You can't avoid me.
I'll meet you all downstairs.
But there's not a pretty vampire to flirt with again this time. Why are you staying behind?
I need a moment. Just a moment. Nothing more, nothing less.
Is there
I
anything
have no secret.
we could help with?
He'll look to you all and we haven't known each other, but... And he'll sigh and he'll undo his belt and pull his sword off in its sheath and look at it. As a knight, I try to go by a code. And I failed that today. He'll look at the sword and he'll just draw it. And you guys will see.
Boss, is this really the time?
I feel that honesty is probably better than letting it stay in.
Let's just deal with it later. Let's just go down and find a safe place, okay?
No, I want to know what's going on. This is as safe a place as any until we go into more danger. Let them talk.
When we were approached by Lady Ellie, my first instinct was to fight. I have a history with Drow. I was in an army, and I was part of many expeditions into the Underdark. Some of them were to free slaves, some of them were to just kill. Because of this history, I instinctively, and though it was unfair to her, viewed her as a foe, and I distrusted her. And he'll draw the sword, and you'll see that it's like this curved, while the handle is silver, the blade itself is pitch black with an odd green sheen to it. And anybody who knows Drow weaponry will know that this is a Drow blade. I took this in a fight. I thought that it would remind me of my comrades, but now I feel as if I'm a thief for having it. And I realize that after interacting with her, that I was wrong. And I was wrong for judging this vampire woman. While what she did to both Garnet and Kyogen is wrong, there may be more to this story, and I am not one to judge. And I think that truth is important, especially in a party like this. While I did not know it at the time, I've come to learn that among the group that we are facing, my sister is among them. And I haven't seen her for many years. I do not know why she is here. I do not know what has happened. But now that is my reason for being down here. And he'll take the sword, put in the sheath, and he'll toss it onto the ground.
Gorbarin, as you said, we've not known each other for very long, but I've met people. I've met so many people, and very few of them are willing to admit their mistakes when they've been wrong. Yes, we've all done bad things, yada, 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 but very few people are willing to own up to it. The fact that you did just now shows some of your character, some of your mettle. Pick up that sword, because we're not going to go through the Undermountain without it and without you. It is very harrowing what you're experiencing. Huh? I think we've all lost people here. I don't think anyone gets to any of our ages without. Not in this world. We will find them, because that is what we are meant to do. And we'll figure out where to go from there. I imagine we will learn things along the way that will help inform our decisions. But as you are our leader, we will of course follow your lead. Huh? So try not to feel too down on yourself. Enough to keep you interesting as a character in the story that I will write about you all. But not so much that renders you incapable of, performing your functions as a person and as our leader. So,
Goodness.
thank you for sharing. We do appreciate your trust in us. It means so much. But pick up that sword and
I
let's
want
go.
to see if this is a little bit condescending or not.
You don't even have to roll. Like, it's a little bit like you can tell that she's laying it on a little
24.
thick.
Yeah.
She's laying it on a little thick.
And he'll be like, I understand. As long as this is a sentiment that you all share. I may have hired you all, but I do not want to impose myself.
You do know with that 24 though that she is shocked and a little touched that you actually like just laid that out. Like, that's not a lie. That's legit. And the fact that you did lay that out and were so trusting with us and she was shocked about that, that is also very legit. So, do with that what you will. She's a bard. She's supposed to say nice words to you to make you feel better.
Practice, practice, practice.
Okay, well, please pick up the sword. Garnet is going to go pick up the sword and, like, press it back in his hands. We can get you a better one later, and you can give it back to the drow after you have a different sword.
I
have a sword.
Can't exactly give that particular drow the sword back.
Well, that's fine. You can give it to a different drow. It's all the same, or you can leave it here, or leave it somewhere else. But you got to take it right now.
Not all drow are the same.
I mean, yeah, but it's symbolic. He likes symbols. Anyway,
I'll
take the sword until we find another one. And let's go. Because I don't like being in here. It reminds me of times when somebody force-fed me grapes. And you know I hate grapes. And Garnet is going to just leave. And
Kyoga at this point is kind of like face-palming. And he's just like, just take the sword, shiny man. Better be dishonored and alive than honored and dead.
We'll just strap the belt back on. Seems we have a temple to find.
I'm already finding it. I will roll investigation to find the secret door.
Hell
as
yeah.
we leave, Gorbrin's gonna look back to the room. He doesn't know she's still there or not, but he's gonna be like, that apology was towards you too. Didn't exactly have a chance to tell you that. And he'll walk down the stairs.
Whether it's received, time perhaps will only tell. But Garnet, as you get down to the bottom of the steps, please do so with advantage, as you have been told precisely where to look.
Okay. 26.
You walk down to the bottom of the steps and you're like, oh my god, it's right there. It's like literally, like you can see the outline of it and everything now that it's, you know where to look. And
so much for a hidden door.
It's immediate as to how it works. It's got a stone pressure release that you kind of pop and then it swings toward you. In fact, you would probably have it with a 26. It is not trapped. You can have it open and waiting for them when they make it down to the stairs. It's like a godlike roll.
As soon as it opened, I just go.
You're going in?
I just want to be in a different room, Greg.
I know what you're doing.
I just want to be in another room.
I appreciate it. Okay.
I mutter to the rest of the group, I really like having her around. She definitely knows what she's doing.
She's very intent when she's on the job.
Garnet, as you leave conversation behind, as you burst in and the sounds of conversation die behind you, you enter into a large vaulted area. It is an area that is completely foreign in cut stone, architecture as anything that you have seen so far. In fact, it goes so far as to look almost like it has been transposed from somewhere else and placed here. And we're going to continue with your investigation of a 26. As you look around the area, you see that the floor in front of you is broken in several areas. You see that it kind of spills into a room below, and the stone and wood, while rotten and ancient, seems to not be on the verge of collapse. But almost to kind of trigger your theory before, you notice that the edges of this room do not go into a wall, but seem to have been sheared off, as the marble itself is perfectly cut, almost as if some great razor had taken this building and sliced it at an angle and then placed it in a cave. But as you look around, you see across this kind of pitted, wholly unstable floor, there is a door, and potentially another room behind that door. You're muted.
I want to check out the door until I find portals.
Okay, so you're
looking for portals.
You're going straight in. Okay, so tell me how you want to do this. Now, the room itself, the floor that you're on is stable enough, but there are holes in it, and you guys should be able to see on
yes
roll 20. Yeah, you should. That little lovely room is what you're looking at here, and
Okay.
just to the north is another door. How would you like to get to that door? Stealthy? Are you?
I mean,
would you like me to look?
We'll say that you all get in just about when Garnet, you can decide, and then they're going to come in right at. If you decide to wait, they'll come in. If you decide to press forward, they'll come in at an opportune moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna press forward like stealthily and carefully, because there's holes in the floor and I don't want to fall down a hole in the floor.
I tell you what, let's do a combined and make it like an acrobatics check,
Okay.
as you just kind of quiet and cunning.
Okay. I'm gonna use an advantage.
Sounds good.
19.
Yep, as you get kind of turn sideways a bit, Garnet, you make it all the way through. A few loose stones will kind of press off and fall down, and when you get beside them, you realize that these holes aren't very deep, maybe 10 feet, and it looks just as if the floor has given way to a lower room. But even as you walk through this area, it doesn't look, as you look down into the room, that there's an exit from that room. It just looks as if maybe naturally they've kind of caved in and had maybe sinkholes or something had happened. As you walk over, you get to the door at the north, and it is already ajar. And as you see that the door is open, normally open doors aren't trapped. You can check if you'd like, but just as you get to the north end of the room, the rest of the gang comes in from the south. And Dirnahal, Gorbrin, Kyogen, and Karis, as you look across, you see that Garnet has already negotiated this area and has made her way to the northern door.
Stop.
Whoa! Her Eldritch Sight and just flies across on her broom. Just flies.
Dirnahal joins you.
What's the distance from like safe floor to safe floor?
10 feet. So it's got a vaulted ceiling, but it's 10 feet on the side to about a pitch of about 15.
Okay, so I'd be able to long jump it.
Yeah.
Can I have
gonna look at? Sorry.
Yeah, I toss a look to Karis like, I'm Karis. I toss a look to Gorbrin like, I don't know if we can necessarily just jump this, being who we are.
If you run 10 feet, if you move 10 feet first, you can jump your strength score. So as long as your strength is a 10 or above. You can make that.
I think I am.
I'm gonna cast Bless on me, Kyogen, and Karis, just to be safe.
Sure.
Can
And-
Karis like hop on my back or something?
I will allow an advantage. She can provide. She'll have to make her own acrobatics roll, but will be able to do so at advantage because you're getting most of the lift. Everybody make acrobatics rolls though, because this is what I had Garnet use to get through, and you can see everything here. It doesn't appear like it's deadly. You know, Garnet, you haven't seen anything that would indicate some type of deadly trap.
Since I'm hefting her, can I use athletics instead?
No, use acrobatics because you're negotiating a launch point and a landing point, and
Okay.
strength really doesn't have much to do with that.
All right.
Very light, very skinny.
I'm
17.
I'm going to use an advantage just to be safe.
Okay, gotcha.
That's horrible.
No.
Use your 1d4 from Bless.
Oh yeah.
This is going to come into play.
I'm just gonna launch myself off of your back, like midair. Oh no.
Here, I gotcha.
Yeah. There you
Look at
There we
that.
go. Hey.
14.
And with a 14, it doesn't look good for a second as you're flying through the air and you realize, as the ground, what you thought was shadow is actually a pit. You're able to get and negotiate just one last little step as you kind of sink through the floor and hit a timber that was still severed a bit. You land and as you look around, everyone has made it to the other side.
I'd like to imagine Gorbrand was probably the last one, and his face is a little pale as he looks down at the holes. He's like, okay, and he's gonna like turn around, go back to the door, and just go like clank, 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 clank. It's very not graceful at all.
Okay, so you make it. It sounds like somebody has canned an avalanche, but you make it across the gap, and as you get over there, you are all standing before the door that Garnet has discovered to be open. What would you
Garnet
like
is
to do?
already through that door. I'm
Love
not
it.
waiting.
Okay.
Dearnay would be.
All right, we're gonna keep going. All right, that's fine.
Hey, what's the lighting like in here for Gorbrand?
Surprisingly, there is a low level of light in this area. It seems to almost be that same that you saw in the hallways near and around the vampire, that low level phosphorescence, that bioluminescence, almost like theater lighting. It's low, very like maybe 4 or 5 inches from the ground and creeping through these different grates and vents that they have. It's not something you could, write a book by, but it's enough for Gorbrand to be able to make out what's going on. As you
My
all
eyes
get
are fine, damn it. Just because you've got all this fucking bullshit with your eyes doesn't mean you can mess with me. Listen, I'm not salty. Fuck you.
as Gorbrand is talking to a shadow and realizes everybody else is gone, damn it, as you all get into another room. We're cooking with gas now. We get into another. Right.
No. This is only the second new room we've been in.
Oh, true.
Right, we've done it. We've done a circuit, and now we're busting forth in the new room.
New rooms, guys.
Okay, so as you get into this room, it looks as if it is a combination of a throne room and some type of audience chamber, or perhaps a place of worship. Otherwise, regardless, there are 2 thrones set into the northern wall. There is another door to the north. There is another door. Let me reveal that as well. Right here to the southwest. And as you're looking around through this area with the low level light and with dark vision kind of coming in and out for all of you that have it, what you notice is there is a mosaic of what appears to be a family. 2 parents, 2 children. You can't make out too many details, but it seems to be repeated throughout this area. The mosaic shows them at table. It shows them in this very room. It shows them in a pseudo wilderness setting. But everything looks odd. You can look more if you'd like, or you can pick a door, Garnet, as I know breaching the 3 barrier is unheard
I'm
of.
so excited.
Breach it clear.
What I want to do actually is see if I can find any evidence of the group that have gone before us. Like, see if I can follow their tracks or anything.
Okay.
Kiko wants to do something, so
No,
we should.
I wanted to help with that and also cast guidance on Garnet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And Kyogen's kind of curious about the murals, if there's any significance with
Me
this family and the
too.
murals.
Okay.
This is really weird to him. It's kind of like in his culture, this would be something that would be set up like a ritualistic tomb for a very wealthy family.
Yeah. Guard it
Is what
first.
this
Guard it first.
kind of vibe that he's.
Okay. Garnet, I will say that you can do 2 things. If you're looking for
Okay.
actual tracks through this area, because there's dust,
Yeah.
you can roll a survival check with a lower DC.
Okay.
If you want to do a kind of broad perception check, I will allow that too. Slightly higher DC, but potentially more information.
Let's do perception, and I will pop another advantage.
I'm using the help action.
So I don't have to.
Yes. And you also
okay.
get the D4 from guidance.
And I get the plus D4. Oh, bless. Perception plus, I'm going to roll it. 24.
Nice. So with another godlike score, and with deity vision kicking in, Garnet, you get down. I guess you're stoked. This is a new surroundings, and you're not seeing the same old rooms, right? As you look down, you do in fact see, and even with that score, it's surprising how light the step is over this group. Now, you've been told there's a group of 5 or more in this company that you're following. However, as you look, you can only ever see 2 or 3 tracks at once. But then you notice that there's a variation in foot size over here, but no other tracks. Whoever passed this way is very skilled. And if you hadn't scored as high as you had, you doubt you would have been able to even indicate that there was this number of independent and unique tracks. But as you're really getting down and looking at everything, you move forward, and under a bit of rock that had fallen from the ceiling, you see a piece of parchment sticking out on top of the dust.
Ooh, I want to look at it, but also she looks at these like beautiful light footprints, and then she looks to like her soup can clangy paladin and the very large lumbering like Azamar, and is just like it is like
lowers herself on her broom next to her other shoulder and just like, what you looking at?
there's some paper, and I want to look at the paper.
Are you looking at the paper as, by the way, if there's ever been, I want to see Garnet like investigating in like a cartoon, and then the animation is Dearna Hall just floats down. What are you looking at? So do you
just like upside down, you know?
right.
Yeah. Like hanging upside down off the broom, just legs hooked on it.
Right. Lauren, do you show or share this discovery, or do you kind of,
I will like look at it myself first, and then decide if I want to show it to Dearna Hall.
Okay.
It's speaking to her mind. What you looking at?
as you're attacked
she
verbally
kind
and
of
mentally.
gives off the feeling of like, just give me a second.
So,
okay.
Garnet, as you look down, and Lauren, as we've discussed before, you don't mind if people know this meta knowledge.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
You see it is an advertisement for a traveling carnival.
Oh, no.
And it seems to be an attraction of some renown, as it is the portable and impossible oubliette. And you see people with question marks above their heads and children entering what looks like this large labyrinth that seems to be constructed of canvas and sail and wood. And there is a rendition of what looks like a man with a top hat kind of indicating entrance into this vast maze. And he looks a bit familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he would. Huh. I'm gonna turn to Dearna and I would say, we're looking for a circus, I think.
Lovely.
And Dearna, you would see everything as described. So, everyone else, as we have Karis and Kyogen go over and look at the mosaic, is there anything specifically you're looking for? Are you looking just to, glean information? Are you looking for traps or hidden areas? Or are you looking at the surface, the aesthetics, or trying to see if they're concealing something?
You go first.
Well, Kyogen is, like I said, it's a real cultural thing for him, and he's looking at it as, he sees these two thrones. He sees all these family-like murals, and he's trying to discern, essentially, if there's any type of identification for who this family was, or what the design of this building was for. Particularly this section of it.
Absolutely. Okay, so go ahead and just roll me a straight perception. You're looking for something that would trigger in your own knowledge of what you believe. You think, as you look at it, that as you're talking about something that's culturally like a tomb or something of that nature, you don't see anything to disprove your theory, but you don't see anything to prove it either. A lot of religious iconography is independent or present in the mosaic, but it's beyond you as to what it is. But you see the pattern repeated, it's just you don't know what it could possibly be.
You, shiny human, holy man. There's religious things over here.
Of course, Sir Kyogen. And
Journey's Hall's head turns entirely around when she hears this.
And he'll look at the walls, and he'll look around, and he'll look for any sort of religious indications on the walls, and any sort of like scripture or religious motifs, stuff like that.
Okay, roll me either a religion, history, or general perception.
Okay, well, he's crap at all that. Because this is one paladin who does not have a religion.
I have religion.
Great, the witch.
He doesn't know that, though. You could certainly roll
Staring
too.
at him like really eagerly, just
It's
like,
like,
hey,
so,
hey, do you want help? Do you need help with something?
do you want to see if you know anything about these?
She like floats sideways over next to him. It's like,
Let's have Gorbrin, you
I'll-
roll a perception check, and I'll take a religion check from Dearna Hall.
Okay, can I help her instead? Because he'll play it off as like, I'll tell you what I know, and maybe that'll help, and I'm sure you know more than I do, and you know.
You cannot, but I will let you know that the Pope has just sent you an additional advantage for the Paladin, and you can use your advantages again as you have appeased, perhaps with an apology, the person that cursed you to begin with.
Oh my god.
Juna casts guidance on herself and gets
18.
going.
All right, let's get those rolls.
Aw. 10. Can I take a 20? This sells it out for 20 minutes? Like 3rd edition?
Yeah, right. I'm just gonna figure it out.
Thank God for my Sentinel shield. By the way, guys, if you are looking to play a fighter and you need a help with your perception checks, might I encourage the Sentinel shield? It's been really helpful so far.
So stop on down to Gorbrin's Shield Shop.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pitch if I ever heard one. Okay,
Listen,
so
I only got this because of Frost from Fire. She was the one to be like, dude, get the shield. It's like, all right.
Charlie. Okay, so as you roll your perception check, Dearna, you actually do get a little bit of information from this. You see these repeated icons in this religious motif inside this area. You believe that this is in fact a holy place of some kind, whether it's a burial chamber or an actual temple, you don't know. However, you believe that what you're seeing is an elven god symbol. You can't remember which one. It's an ancient elven god symbol. But with your perception check, here's where human sight comes in a little bit better than the dull sight of dark vision. Gorbrin, you see that in the mosaics, the family is a family of drow.
I copied down the religious symbol in my notebook.
This was a drow residence.
Oh, good. You can give them your sword.
I think they're long gone.
Yeah.
Dearna, you would also know that the symbol that you've copied down is not Lolth.
Well, they didn't worship Lolth, so they're probably not entirely horrible.
What symbol is that? And he's gonna look at it. Does he know what it is?
No, we're not gonna play who can get the better religion score at some point because you're gonna beat me.
Yeah.
But you all are able to that's what you're able to glean from this room. The additional perception that you get when you look at the mosaic isn't just the racial characteristics of the family. You also see that in the mosaic that indicates this room, you notice that the mother seems to have her hand held awkwardly on the arm of the leftmost throne.
I'm gonna go up and touch the arm, see if I can move it.
The arm itself does not move. It's flat and two-dimensional.
What you looking at?
I have an idea. He's gonna sit in the left throne.
I look at the throne with my magic eyes.
As soon as you sit down, there's nothing magic about the throne, but as soon as you sit down, you notice that just inside the lip of one of the curls of the arm, there looks to be a little knob. Like a dial of sorts.
Garnet, I think I found something.
Huh?
There's something in this throne.
And she takes a second when you say Garnet. she's like still kind of looking at the paper, and she's like, "Oh
Red.
yeah."
There's a button. I don't know if I should press it.
Oh, look, you're learning. I'm gonna go look at the button.
You can roll me an investigation check if you want to. And by the way, when you get there, it's not a button. It looks like a dial. But
Okay.
no, paladin.
It's a button to him, right? It's a button.
Right.
He's still learning. Yeah, I will investigation check the dial. I did not have it. You know what? I rolled with advantage, so I will burn the advantage because I still had the advantage button pressed.
Oh, you don't have to. If you want to take the 10, you can. I mean, I don't want to
No.
force you into it.
No, I'll take that nat 20. Thank you.
Okay. Well, with it, you look and realize that there's no way that this could be trapped. Just by the mechanism in place, you twist it. And as you twist it, there is a slight creak as another door swings open in the corner of the room, right in the area of the mosaic. And as the octagonal mosaic pieces split away, it reveals yet another room.
Is this in the same place where I found the footsteps going?
No, this is in an opposite. The footsteps went through the northern door.
Okay.
This off to its left does not have any footsteps coming. Whether they knew of its existence or ignored it, hard to say, but they did not enter it.
She's gonna go, well, this is very interesting and very cool. Good on you.
She flies up to it with her broom and looks.
It's also not the direction that our friends went.
We can look with our eyes.
Of course. I'm just saying that they went that way. But this looks cool too.
There might be stuff that we can use to hit things better.
It's true. Maybe there's a sword that won't give Gorbrin so much guilt.
Dearnay actually laughs at that.
Just go check out the room, please. I'm just gonna sit here for a while.
You got it, boss. I will go with Dearna to look through.
Okay, so witch and
if
rogue.
If you've ever seen a more just defeated man on a throne, that's what Gorbin looks like. He's just like
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Gorbrin and his sword of sadness.
sword of sadness.
Okay,
He pulls it out and it starts to be like, I don't want to fight anybody.
Put me back in my sheath, God.
Come on,
As you creep in, I would like to know how Dearna Hall and Garnet are going into this room or peering into this room, or what are we doing?
I'm looking with my magic eyes. and
Kyogen's
floating
going
up
as well.
towards the ceiling.
I will let her look with the magic eyes first, before I go inside and get the all clear.
Let's get a perception check from Dearna Hall.
I'll use an advantage, an avantage for this,
Avantage.
because I'm scared. 23.
Okay, so with a 23, as you look in and as your sight expands, you can feel Hemelig on your shoulder. As if a raven can subconsciously do anything, he leans forward too, and the talons grip a bit into your shoulder as he's trying to get the proverbial bird's eye view. And as you look into the area, you see that there are mushrooms everywhere, on the floor, on the ceiling, different various stalks and toadstools as they go and kind of blanket this whole area. And with a score of a 23, as you're watching, a few of them move.
Well, Tierney Hall backs out. And I'm like, well, those are mushrooms. I saw them move, which means let's not mess with them because I know a few things those could be, and I don't want to mess with any of them.
Garnet will go back to the dial and close the door.
It's like, what did you find in there?
Mushrooms?
Yeah, we thought you didn't want to get mixed up in
Did you?
moving magic mushrooms because you're a cop, so we're going.
I am a knight. That doesn't mean that I am against partaking in such things as long as they abide by the law. And
Oh
as
my-
far as I know, there are certain mushrooms that are decreed to be allowed for
They're
consumption
alive
as long
and
as they are
moving.
properly taxed.
They're alive and moving.
What do you mean they're moving?
They're
They moved.
moving mushrooms. They're alive. It's bad. The door is closed. Let's go through this one, which is a carnival is over there, apparently.
I do like carnivals. Let's go.
There's an impossible moving oubliette.
Let's not get caught in it.
When she brings up a carnival, is this the same like thing as the pamphlets we saw in the graveyard?
I
didn't
don't know. I don't think the pamphlet's been shared. It's just been mentioned.
Nope. I just said there's a carnival.
He picked up one from.
Yeah, but I haven't shared the pamphlet that I found here. I was just like, oh, there's a pamphlet for a carnival. And I told Deerna Hall, but not you. So you were looking at art.
Well, all right then. To be like, and he's gonna lean in towards Deerna Hall as they kind of move away, just like, did you see any mushrooms that might have been of a certain variety in there?
What are you looking to get high?
I would not say
Tierney takes out her herbalism kit and starts going through it. What do you want?
What do you have?
Oh my god. While this is happening, well, we do an Undermountain drug deal.
What do you want? What do you have? And thus the paladin fell.
He's like, just like an invisible, I just want an Invisible Sun style side scene of that.
Right.
He's just like, actually, let's wait until we actually have some downtime.
Gorbrin's like, I tried to get to a third room, but then I got high.
I tried to show the group the right way, but then I got high.
Third room. Come on, we can do it. Break our record.
All right, we're going through.
Oh, wait. Karis wants to do a thing. Karis.
Kyogen does bring up an interesting point. Why is there a secret door for a mushroom forest?
Because mushrooms are great, obviously.
It's their home now.
Yeah.
It's theirs. Let them have it.
The Undermountain is dark and full of terrors. While they were doing all of that, because that was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Karis have been looking at the murals with a history check, looking for if she's familiar with the type of story or that story in particular that they're trying to tell, because she spent a lot of time with Namiya looking at historic stuff.
Go right ahead.
Well, thank you. Ooh.
That 20. Here's what you learn and can share if you wish. You know of a story, and because of your association with the bardic tales of old, and especially ones that go against the norm, the greatest of the bardic tales are those that talk of evildoers to turn good, or those that would be considered evil doing good, or vice versa. You know that in the world above in Waterdeep, there is even a sect of those that worship demons and devils, like Asmodeus and all of the other carnal creatures of the abyss and the dark, kind of going counterproductive to what civilization would be called. And it's with that thought in your mind as you're looking through this, you realize that this is the Drow societal equivalent. You look and you realize that this family, the parents and the children, were not devil worshippers, but they might as well have been in Drow society. They worshipped a good god. And it seems, as you're looking around through here, very subtly, there has been placed elements of sacrilege. Small pieces of the iconography of the good god has been tarnished and twisted, has been desecrated. And very subtly, what languages do you speak, Karis?
I speak Abyssal, Celestial, Common, Draconic, and Primordial. Not Underdark.
I speak Undercommon.
I have comprehend languages as a ritual.
Says everybody.
God damn it, Dearna.
One of
Y'all
them
are
does
busy.
right. One of them does pop up as in Abyssal. You see blasphemers written very neatly in the actual tiles of the mosaic.
Whoa, that's wild. But okay. That must have taken effort. Do I know with that check what god it is, or would that be a religion thing that I don't have?
That would be a religion thing. You know the story. And even with a nat 20, it's so ancient that you can't say for certain what the elven god is, but you know that the elven god is a god of the light, of the considered by the rest of the races as being a good god, and decidedly against the norm of Drow society.
Knowing my history, obviously people have found this since it's been created and tried to tarnish it because they didn't agree. Would I know if the people depicted in the murals were real, or if it was more just like, oh, this is an example of a moral, so like history versus fable?
You definitely fit that. This seems to be history. This seems to be an actual event. This mosaic is more biography than anything else. It's a timeline of a family. As you are finishing up and everybody kind of stops what they're doing as these various events are taking place in this room, with all of your perception checks and a lot of the investigation checks being very high, several of you, no pun intended, Gorbrin, several of you notice that beneath the mosaic door that opened, tendrils begin to creep out as if stalks are looking for something. And as soon as one of the milky tendrils comes out, you see a mushroom sprout from the upper body and the flesh of this root, and the yellow mushroom begins to grow and expand.
Let's go.
Oh, we need to go.
Let's go right now.
Everybody in. He's gonna like do this motion, like everybody in, move.
Karis will have to be pulled away from the wall because she's very intently like studying everything.
Karis, I don't want you to get eaten by a mushroom. Okay, bye. Let's go.
Kyogen literally carries her like a football.
Okay, and Karis, as you are being pulled away, almost at like your fingers still kind of dragging along the mosaics as you're just intent upon your investigation, with your nat 20, just as Kyogen carries you into the hallway beyond this room, not technically a room, but it's a hallway, as you get into the hallway and as your fingers trace through, the last thing you see is in the far reaches of this room, in the back corner, someone very familiar is depicted in the mural. And before you can look at it entirely, the artistic rendering of the Lass of Lyrics disappears before you as Kyogen pulls you away.
Do I know with my check how, like, when it was made, approximately? Maybe?
At least 100 years ago.
Okay. I appreciate you saving me from mushrooms, I think. But there's a lot of stuff going on in that room. For one, our dear friend, the Lass of Lyrics, was depicted in that mural. So I would appreciate the chance to investigate further to see why.
Well, counterpoint, if there are mushrooms, then whatever happened to the Lass of Lyrics, that like the bad mushroom person that she was talking about who made her a vampire, has something to do with that. And so let's just not.
Additional counterpoint, I don't really care.
Thank you for your input. I really appreciate.
Let's go.
Okay,
So,
I guess I just
down
won't
this
share any of my
assume
findings.
hallway.
That's fine. That's
No,
Can
I'm
we-
really sorry, Karis. I just don't want you to die or become a vampire.
Additional counterpoint, while Charis is checking that out, we could eat the mushrooms to keep them at bay.
No.
Another
Do you have a
no.
mushroom addiction?
No.
I'm gonna make this a going forward thing. But as this discussion is taking place, I want to check in mentally and see what Kyogen is currently thinking at this very moment when this conversation is going on. Jason, Kyogen hears all of this. What does he internalize as he is looking and thinking at the party surrounding him?
Well, so like I'm really confused as the paladin's talking about eating sentient creatures. It's kind of taken me back a little bit.
Well, he doesn't understand that. He doesn't quite get that yet. He has to be explained to him. He doesn't understand the mushrooms can be.
Like with Karis, I get the whole because I've known her so long. I get the whole like this need to investigate. For the most part, I think there's something very suspect about why is it that someone who claims they've never been in this temple, there's a artistic rendering of them in this temple. So that's kind of sketchy to me. The artistic rendering that she is contained in also had a hidden meaning that led to a secret latch that opened up to a room full of mushrooms. I think personally that and Kyogen's not an idiot. I mean, he's got 10 intelligence, common person intelligence. So I think personally that the answers to at least a bit of who the lass really was, Camille, lie in that room of mushrooms.
And as that thought passes through and the conversation continues about best possible way to push back the mushroom horde, Gorbrin suggests smorgasbord. And as we creep back around, Garnet, I know that you're leading point on all of this. In the hallway, you see a door up to the left and a stairwell leading down to the right.
Where do my where can I continue to follow these tracks?
Yes, with your earlier, you know what to look for now. You're not necessarily picking up every single track, but you're able to see the passage. And this is a very narrow area. So as you go through this area, Garnet, you see that they went to the left. And again, the
Okay.
door is ajar.
They went through this door. Do we want to go? I'm sorry, Karis. I got really nervous about the mushrooms and the fighting and all of that stuff. If you really want to look at it, we can.
I really do appreciate your concern for my well-being. Kyogen did help me handle, though. You know, he did the standard, oh, I'm in danger, I'm not paying attention, maneuver. We have that covered. It was just really weird because they were Drow, but they were worshiping a god of light, and that's not very typical of their people. The mosaics were, well, I could tell one in Abyssal called them blasphemers, and it was written in the mosaic itself. I would assume that it would be similar in the other languages that I saw were there, but I couldn't understand. It's odd that this temple was there, and the fact that the last was depicted. It was about 100 years old, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I wasn't 100% sure. But at the very least, even if we don't go back now to find out, that is something we should keep in mind in case we run into her again, if we want to know more about her, because that might have been who she was before she was a vampire.
Dear Nihal says, I have 2 things I want to add to this conversation. First off, long ago, all elves were united as one people. Thusly, it is not that strange, in my opinion, for one group of elves to be worshipping a different god that is, atypical. Maybe other elves worship it. It's not that strange to me.
Yeah, that does.
The mushrooms might still be following us, so we should probably keep moving.
Oh, that's a good point.
It might have been strange at one point, but at the very least, there were people who did not agree, is just the point.
Religion. Anyway.
It is very convoluted, I will give you that.
Would I know as a elf with family of religion, would I know anything about like elven pantheons and stuff?
I can show you the sketch I did of the
Right, maybe if Dearna Hall shared the sketch and maybe you had a little bit more context, if you had just a few more things to kind of cross-reference, and you might be able to come up with a little bit more.
Okay.
I'd let you roll for it.
Oh, okay, I'll roll.
Not right now.
No, not right now. But if I find more stuff.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Yes.
I get it. All right. Do we want to go through the door then?
Yes.
Okay.
Guidance on Garnet.
I will make sure it's not. Yeah. Well, it's already open, so
More traps.
Can I like peek through the door first to make sure it's safe?
Sure. As you peek through the door, kind of slow it open just a bit, Garnet, you see that there are the makings of an old servant's quarters, but more specifically a kitchen, as you can see the old racks that are in disrepair and several of the shelves had collapsed in among themselves. You notice when you look that almost directly across this circular room, you see another door, and there is a knife in very villainous fashion that has nailed a piece of parchment to the door facing you.
I'm not touching it.
The parchment is legible, and it says, "Stand down, Gorbrin. Last warning."
I think we're on the right track.
What did you find?
Well, there's a paper with a big knife in it, and it says, "Stand down, Gorbrin." So.
And he'll just he'll take it and look at it.
Gorbin, as you walk forward to kind of pull it off of the door swings open suddenly across from you, and you all see a goblin in incredibly fine robes, custom cut, a high collar with a purple lined and almost velvet kind of like break in it. What hair he has is plastered straight back in a very kind of a cunning haircut. And as he walks out, he's carrying a staff, and he looks at all of you and says, "Did you all do this? Did you nail this to my door?"
No. No, I think his sister did, actually.
Your sister did?
We don't know that, actually.
They're estranged. It's a whole thing.
It's her handwriting.
Are there portals here? We were told there were portals here.
Sure. I tell you what, come on upstairs and we'll have some soup and we'll talk about it. And you see him walk back through the door and head somewhere, and you hear a whisper come back out through the shadows. "It's mushroom soup!" And that's where we'll end this session of Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
What the fuck? Why is there a goblin in a suit?
Because goblins are great.
I would like
this
to
one
propose
actually might be a sir, so.
I would like to propose the name for him to be Augustus Ryan.
Ooh, that's a good name. It's very proper, very fancy.
It's like the double threat for Gorbrin. Goblins that he can talk to that's serving mushrooms. You're doomed,
All right.
Gorbrin. You have to go.
Listen.
So with that, we will go around and talk to everyone, as that was 3 rooms, everybody, and a hallway. I'm giving you 4. I'm giving you 4 because the hallway required investigation. So 4 rooms.
9 rooms in 4 episodes.
We are trucking. Can we do 5? God forbid. I have to fan myself. Let's go around and talk to everybody, and let's start with our friend who has fought through bronchitis to be here. Jason,
Yeah.
how are you, my friend? And where can we find you online?
Yeah, like you said, fighting through some acute bronchitis. So a bit struggling today, so I do apologize. I've been fighting probably about a 102-degree fever for the past 3 days. Yeah, this has been the highlight of those 3 days of misery. So trust me, I really enjoyed it. Great episode tonight. Definitely some great little clips from mushrooms and whatnot. So be some interesting to see some of the feedback on that. But yeah, you can find me online on Twitter at JasonTDNDDM. And then coming soon, I have a very high-profile charity stream that will be coming up in May that you will soon be hearing, getting plastered all over social media about, with probably about 24 of some of the more well-known names in D&D involved. So
Fantastic. And we shall promote as well as soon as we have confirmation and information. But until then, everyone, please follow our friend online. Link is in chat. And as we drop straight away from our barbarian so he can heal and get cooler, we will go to the cold-blooded Yuan-Ti. Karis, how are you doing, Blenny? And where can we find you online?
I'm doing great. This was good. I'm excited to have Kyogen back. You can follow me on Twitter at Blinbee, BLINNEBEE. I post things there occasionally. As always, I've been working closely with Ashley Warren RPG and a bunch of other super awesome contributors for the Uncaged Anthology. That's 4 volumes of super neat, unique, brand new one-shots featuring all sorts of neat female monsters. So check that out on DM's Guild. We are going to be releasing it this month. Super awesome. We'll have links out there when it's released and official, so you can check it out for yourself. Other than that, I'm excited to be here in the new year, and next time I'm going to be in a different room because I'm going to be at college. So don't be too spooked out by the new background that you will inevitably be seeing, and hopefully it's not just white, sad walls. Fingers crossed.
Awesome. And we jump over to the Paladin, who has had a lot of problems tonight. Trial of conscience with his sword, offered drugs and almost accepting them by Dearna Hall. My friend, how are you tonight, and where can we find you online?
I'm doing all right. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with Gorbrin and the rest of the cast. Maybe he's found a smoking buddy with Dearna Hall. Maybe we'll see how that goes. But he's feeling a little bit better now. But he's going to be keeping an eye on things. But I am Koros RPG. You can find me on twitter.com and twitch.tv at Koros RPG. I like to talk about D&D and RPGs and fantasy. And not only that, but I also run for the Soul Bear RPG Twitch channel on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a show called The Shattered Eye, which is a Greek and Roman myth-inspired sword and sorcery D&D game. We've been gone for 2 weeks now, but we will be back this week with a ton of fun.
Bless you.
So come check that out.
Absolutely, everybody. Link is in chat. Please follow up, and it will be, I don't know if you caught it during the hubbub of the episode, my friend, but the Pope donated a new blade for you, and so this new blade will be coming into play sooner rather than later, because as most of the things that come into play, this one is super cool. So
you have received the Pope's blessing.
All right. That's
the
right.
Pope himself.
That's right. We will have to call the weapon the Vatican or something. So
I'm Catholic now, so I'm just going to say that. I've always been a big fan of the Pope.
Right. So we go over to Lauren. Lauren, how are you doing, my friend? 5 rooms.
Oh my God.
4
rooms. I'm feeling much better. I was a little bit worried. Honestly, I was like, this game is going to take 50 years, and it's not that I don't love you, but it's not what I want to be doing when I'm like an old lady. I don't know if the nursing home is going to have good internet. Anyway, I'm feeling much better. I'm glad that we're not dealing with the vampire. I'm interested in her backstory. But would not like to become a mushroom vampire. So yeah, I'm Lauren, JL_nice girl on Twitter. I am blah, 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 blah. I play games on the internet and sometimes try and use words, and I'm usually better at using them, but not tonight. I have a pinned tweet where you can find all of the games that I play in. They are mostly on hiatus for this next week, but the week after, so starting on the 14th, I will be back playing games like 4 or 5 days a week. Also, next week on Tuesday, a new episode of my podcast, Too Many RPGs, is coming out. Too Many RPGs is a podcast where we talk to creators and fans of actual play about the shows they love and why they love them. This Tuesday, we are talking to Dungeon Commander about their Flare actual play on their Twitch channel, which is an actual play of their game Mutants in the Night. It's going to be a very good episode, so definitely check that out at Too Many RPGs wherever you get podcasts.
Fantastic. And everyone, links are in chat, and the Twitter handle for Too Many RPGs is also in chat. Follow them all, because you want to follow those things and put some kindness and some fun into your life, because 2019, we're turning this all around. You see what happened? 2018, 1 room a session. 2019, 4. This is it. New year, new group. We'll be finished. Next week's our finale. We're going straight to Hallister. We're going to do 27 rooms next week. Awesome. Everybody follow everything. Kika, how are you doing tonight? And where can we find you online? And at some point, the side scene, I have side scene, mushrooms, Gorbrin, Deer in a Hall. It's going to happen. There we go.
Right after the date with Hallister.
It could be one and the same. Make it as awkward as is humanly possible.
Hey, I'm Kika. You can find me on the internet at twitch.tv/Kika. That's twitch.tv/KAKKA, and on Twitter at twitter.com/KikaVio. You can find me on various shows such as The Shattered Eye on Soul Bear RPG on Sundays, Secrets of Castle Greyhawk Thursday mornings on the Greyhawk channel, Neon Life on I don't remember the channel. It's Invisible Sun RPG.
Off the Table.
Off the Table, yes, thank you. You can find me on I was told I can announce this, so you can find me on the next episode of Dice Camera Action playing Deer in a Hall again. Yay. On the 15th. And yeah, I'm in other things that aren't started yet, so follow me on Twitter to find out all the places I'm playing games at. And yeah, I'll see you guys around.
Fantastic. And like I said, I couldn't love this session more. I love you guys. We are going to do, for all of our people that watch on YouTube, I said it before, but this is a streamlined, as non-spoilery, a run through the Dungeon of the Mad Mage as we can, specific, of course, to these characters, as backstory is used and the Undermountain is the backdrop for the telling of the tale. But as we get forward and get ready to go and leave everyone off into this night, I have a couple things that are coming up here for the channel with my fantastic writing group and partners, Kiana, Lauren, that's Salty Ginger, and Donathan Fry. We are going to be rebranding the channel very, very shortly into Tales from the Grim. We have several new shows that are going to be starting up, and once again, we are going to, in conjunction with all of our other friends that put on shows, continue that great cooperative narrative storytelling that we all like to do in all of the different channels in which we do it. But we're going to sit down and really have some fun things in the pipeline coming forward for everybody. This cast, and then of course we have May Black Roses Bloom will be starting up again next Wednesday. We have the ending of Project Athena, which is our over-year-long Pulp Cthulhu show, and plenty of other fun things coming. The official announcement for our Lady Blackbird campaign will be coming very, very shortly. We also have a Highlander inspired Cypher Systems game coming shortly, starring our Summer from Off the Table. So we're going to have a lot of fun coming forward, but the most fun is hanging out with chat and getting to hear a paladin fall to the drug offerings of a witch. Where else can you hear that but in the hallowed halls of Dungeons and the Dragons? But until next time, everybody, like we always say here, unless you're this group, you can't always roll nat 20s, but you can role play. Have fun, and we'll see you next week.